What's good, Combat Sports fans? You already know it's your boy Bando back at it with another episode of Combat and Kick It. I missed you this past week. I apologize, but we did have a middleweight main event between Roman Dolidze and Nasruddin Imavov, so I'm gonna come through with the review. So let's get right into it. Let's go. So obviously it was a full card. There was an entire fight night on Saturday that I pretty much missed. I basically missed this whole thing. I saw a couple highlights. I saw Molly McCann's finish. I saw Renato Moicano got the decision win over Drew Dober and had an absolutely insane post-fight just speech. It was pretty hilarious. You should check that out if you haven't. If you haven't seen that already, definitely go check that out. That was funny. But yeah, so the start to 2024 for fights have not been crazy exciting or anything like that, but still nice to be back. Still nice to have fights. I just happen to miss these ones. But I did catch the main event. I at least caught the main event. So, during the main event, Nasruddin Imavov, he got the win. He got the decision win over Roman Dolidze, and it was a clear decision win over Roman Dolidze. Roman really didn't do much. Overall in the fight, you're watching the fight. Nasruddin Imavov came out with obviously the attention to strike, striking well. He has clean technical striking. He has good ability to throw kicks, throws good body kicks. He's got a nice jab. He's got a nice 1-2, right? But it seems like he just lacks that popping power. You know, he doesn't have that much in his punches. You know, but the way that he was throwing against Roman, it was freezing Roman. Roman couldn't get going. Roman couldn't get technical with nothing like that. So everything that Nasruddin was landing, it was slowing Roman down. So there was one moment in the first round, Imavov did get him to go down, wobbled him, hit him with a nice body shot, then a knee to the body, dropped him, almost got the finish. Honestly, it's funny because we could really look at like Herb Dean in this moment. Not saying Herb Dean had a bad call because he didn't. It wasn't bad at all. But you look at it and you're like, man, Herb Dean let that go. But then you think like, ooh, Mark Goddard probably wouldn't have let that fight go. Mark Goddard probably would have stopped that fight. You know, like it's just weird how different refs have their different shit that they do and different ways of going about like stopping a fight and seeing if a guy's actually finished and stuff like that. But overall, yeah, like Roman was getting beat up. Nothing crazy. It wasn't nothing crazy. And overall, like, the fight wasn't even that crazy. It wasn't that big of a highlighted fight. Two guys that, you know, are talented middleweights trying to bust through to make statements into the top 10. But it's tough because you keep getting this middleweight division keeps getting shooken up. Like I said, every fight matters right now. And these guys needed to come out and do something impressive, needed to do something big. And, you know, getting a win is a win regardless, right? But getting something behind the win, a finish, some sort of submission, a knockdown, knockout, anything crazy that you can get, anything that stands out, it boosts you up quicker, especially when you got a shaken up division the way it is right now. So Imavov was ranked 11, Roman Dolidze was ranked 8. You got Dolidze ranked 8, you got Hamzat ranked 9, you have Imavov ranked 11, and who the fuck was 10? I forgot who 10 was, right? But what do you do with the division, right? You have a guy in Hamzat who people already talk about being a title contender. He hasn't fought in that position yet, but he is always in discussion for that, but he's ranked 9. Do you have Imavov jump over him, or do you now have to push up Hamzat and push somebody else out of the top? You know what I mean? Like, the rankings are a strange thing. Very strange thing. That's why any fight in that division, like I said, matters. When it's shaken up, it's confusing. Those numbers probably don't even fucking matter next to the name right now. I think it only matters when a division is pretty established, going through the same consistent flow of having the same consistent guys in the top 5. This division isn't that. This just isn't that division. A lot of times during this fight too, where Roman would try to get success, he would try to clinch up and do a lot of clinch work and maybe bring the fight to the ground, and then he wouldn't have any success in it. He just didn't have much, right? No answers in the striking, no answers on the ground. It definitely wasn't his best fight. Which that happens, man. People come out and they don't fight their best fight. I definitely thought Roman Dolidze was going to come in and win this fight. There was a couple shots that Imavov landed that were definitely good shots that could have been fight-changing shots, that definitely slowed Roman down from being able to really get get going. Like, he just couldn't get going. And, like, he would get the clinch and he would just hold the clinch and hold the position. And it wasn't nothing. It really wasn't nothing. I'm sorry because, like, I feel like I'm not giving you guys anything to review. I'm not giving you anything to review. If you look at the last card that we had to start the year with the Sean Strickland card, there's nothing to review on that. There was nothing to get into on that. There was nothing crazy about that. So it was like a real basic card. This card was a real basic card. I don't know what's going on with these fucking cards. They're real basic cards. I just need some hype. And I know there's hype coming soon with Volkanovski and Topuria, so I'll get to that breakdown eventually. But, this weekend we got Joe Pyfer and Jack Hermanson, which another middleweight matchup. Not something that really has, top 10, top 5 potential. It's just, this is one of those fights that we get to see if Joe Pyfer's the real deal. You know what I mean? Like, Jack Hermanson's no slouch. Jack Hermanson is a tough middleweight. He's given some good fights to guys out there. I think the thing about Jack Hermanson is he makes mistakes. He makes mistakes, and his ground game is beautiful. We already know that. His ground game is beautiful. He had a great fight against Marvin Vettori. I remember that. That was a slugfest. Who else? He's had good fights. He submitted Kelvin Gastelum. Easy work against Kelvin Gastelum. Kelvin tried to wrestle with him. Wasn't a good idea at all. But Jack Hermanson is a very skilled guy who's fought the top of the division. Pretty sure he's been in there with Jared Cannonier. He's been in there with, let's see his, not even going to call it the resume. I'm just going to talk about anybody he's fought. He's fought Chris Curtis, Roman Dolidze. He has fought Edmund Shabazian, Kelvin Gastelum, Marvin Vettori, Jared Cannonier, Jacare Souza, David Branch, Gerald Mearshart, Talis Latis. He's had a lot of people. He's fought Thiago Santos. A lot of good wins too in here, man. A lot of good wins. So the dude is not a slouch. And the thing about it is he's going up against a guy in Joe Pyfer who people are expecting to be the truth, expecting to be the future of the middleweight division, and has rumored power. Even numbered power, breaking the same not even numbered. No, let me say this correctly. Let me stop fumbling over my words here. The man broke Francis Ngannou's punch record on the punch machine. Now, I get it. It's a punch machine. It's one of those, fun punch machines you get at like a arcade or something like that, right? But the fact that a middleweight can do a number even remotely close to Francis Ngannou is incredible. So a little bit of hype behind him. So we'll see what happens. But I'm interested in the story of Joe Pyfer. I'm interested in this main event, honestly, more than this past weekend. Not, like I said, not considering that these guys are going to be fighting for the championship next, but it's a good fight. It makes sense for both guys. Jack Hermanson's coming off of a loss. I think he also is coming off of an injury. I could be wrong about that, but we haven't seen him in a minute. And like I said, you're trying to boost Joe Pyfer to the next level. You're trying to see where Joe Pyfer stands, where he's at. The dude does have good knockout power. He's got good hands. He's got good technical jiu-jitsu. I like the way he fights. I like his style, right? And he's there to slug. If it goes to a slugfest, he's not afraid to take it to a slugfest. So I like that about him. So I'm definitely interested in that. You got a co-main between Dan Ige and Andre Fili. Andre Fili had a fantastic last fight. Dan Ige was his last fight. I think his last fight was against Bryce Mitchell. Was it against Bryce Mitchell? Yeah, but he also had that win against Nate Landwehr. He had a win against Damon Jackson this past year. So gonna be nice to see Dan Ige. Always fun to watch Dan Ige because if it's not a good fight slugfest, then not even a slugfest, but just a good fight, a good high paced fight. He's gonna land something nasty, and if he lands something nasty, he's gonna knock that boy out. No, actually, this is a tough fight. I don't really see him knocking Andre Fili out. Andre Fili's got power too. I know he's a slim-looking dude, very skinny, but he's got power too. He packs he packs a punch in them skinny arms. So I would not sleep on him at all. So him and Dan Ige is gonna be a good fight. So a good co-main event, good main event. Other fights to definitely watch on this card. Nothing big, no giant names. Like I'd never heard of Robert Breachik. I have heard of his opponent, Albert Duraev. So you got Brad Tavares is on this one against Gregory Rodriguez. If you're hip to Gregory Rodriguez, very fun dude to watch fight. Michael Johnson's returning on this fight. Damn, man, Michael Johnson's 22-19. That is crazy. And look, I'm not dogging Michael Johnson for being 22-19. You just seen guys get cut in the UFC for less. You know what I mean? That's it's just crazy to see. You see a lot of people with crazy records, and you're like, man, I seen so many guys get cut for way less. They'll go on a 2-3 fight losing streak and they'll get cut. You got a guy like Tony Ferguson. Granted, it's Tony fucking Ferguson. It's El Kukui, but guy's on a 7-fight losing streak. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things. UFC's wild. Man, we are so close to UFC 298, though, and I can't fucking wait for this card. Anthony Hernandez versus Robin Kopylov. Merab Dvalishvili versus Henry Cejudo. Jeff Neal versus Ian Gary. Robert Whittaker, Paulo Costa, and Alexander Volkanovski defends his UFC featherweight championship against Ilia Topuria. Can he do it? We will find out. And that breakdown is coming very soon. I promise you. I promise you. I might even film it tonight while I'm sitting in here. But that's pretty much it for this episode. We do have a couple UFC 300 announcements that I haven't touched up on, so I'll give you a little quick brief on that one. We do have a debut coming to the UFC. Kayla Harrison is going up against Holly Holm. If you're not hip to Kayla Harrison, coming over for PFL, Judo Kayla. Right? She's nasty with the judo. But the thing about Kayla Harrison, she's a 16-1 fighter. She was on a huge fight win streak until she lost to Pacheco, I think her last name is. Lost the decision. But the thing about it, she's been fighting at like 155. She's a big girl, right? She's a heavy girl. She's been fighting at like 155 at PFL because they have a division for that. She's got to cut down to 135 to fight Holly Holm. That's a very interesting thing. But Kayla Harrison, she's coming over to the UFC. Why? Because it is the promotion. Look, I understand people's beefs with the UFC and how they feel about the UFC, everything like that, right? And I'm not trying to be this UFC dick rider. I'm not. It's not like that. It's one of those things where it is proven fact now. When someone is a top dog in these other promotions, there's only so much they can do. They have to come over to the UFC to fight the best of the best. You're going to see it with more Bellator fighters one day, but I could be wrong. PFL and Bellator seem like they're on a growing path when coming together. You know what I'm saying? Bellator is not a thing no more, but now they're together. So this could be a growing thing. We'll see what happens from that. But just like Kayla Harrison, MVP, just like MVP, Michael Chandler. You know what I'm saying? Or, well, I should have said that backwards. Michael Chandler, just like Michael Chandler, MVP, just like MVP. You got fucking Kayla Harrison, because when you're top in that game, in that promotion, you're such a big name. You want to get challenged against the people that they say you can't beat. You know what I mean? So come over and test your strength. And I thought, well, Michael Chandler did coming over and knocks out fucking Dan Hooker. No one expected that, and he already made the statement right away. He's probably one of the highest paid UFC fighters already, right? And he's just cementing his legacy even more. If he never gets a UFC belt, it really doesn't matter. He's cementing his legacy in a way just by coming over here and doing this in the first place. So shout out to Kayla Harrison for finally making the move to come over here. They had to fucking offer her buco dollars. That's all I know. I don't know what that contract's looking like, but they had to offer her buco dollars because all those $1 million wins from PFL, you would think she's got to be getting paid good for this. Did anything else get added to this? Jessica Andrade and Marina Rodriguez. Yo, like, give me some fucking bangers. Look, I fuck with Sadiq Youssef and Diego Lopez. Shout out to that matchup. We all wanted Diego Lopez to be on the card, and we got it, right? Davidson Figueiredo, Cody Garbrandt. Calvin Kattar, Aljamain Sterling, Yuri Petroska, Alexander Raychik, Charles Oliveira, Armin Sarukian, Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway, Weili Zhang, and Yan Xiaonan. I love it. It's a fantastic card, but I feel like it's fucking missing something. I could be wrong, though. We do have bangers on this card. I'm just talking shit. We got bangers on this card. I'm talking shit, but it's one of those things where we're missing something. We need either one of the three biggest stars in MMA. Your biggest star, Conor McGregor. Your second biggest star, Israel Adesanya. And your most recent, fastest, biggest rising star in Alex Pereira. And if Alex fights, it would be Alex versus Jamal, which still isn't that big of a crazy main event, but I love it. I love it. It's fantastic. Grow that light heavyweight division. Make something out of it. Either way, that's my episode for today. I appreciate you for listening. You know what to do. You see this up here? I'm putting this up here. From now on. Like, yo, stop what you're doing. Go and like and subscribe. I don't know how to put it in the fucking... Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification button. I know I get viewers that are watching this stuff. Even if you're watching it for 30 seconds. Even if you don't watch the next episode. Just fucking subscribe. You know it's not that hard. Realistically. It's not that hard. You click the video. You don't even have to click the video. This comes up before the video. I ain't begging. I'm not begging. Either way, I appreciate you for watching this video, just wasting your time with me. You already know more episodes to come, so keep on watching. I will catch you on the next episode. Your boy's out. Peace.